Whenever China experiences a nationwide event, the Chinese Communist Party uses various means to maintain as much stability as possible. In other words, the CCP has control over all aspects of society, stifling dissidence from people such as human rights activists and certain religious groups. When it comes to global events such as the Winter Olympics, the CCP will put particular care into making sure that stability is maintained throughout the globally witnessed event. As such, many WeChat accounts have been blocked and several human rights lawyers have been arrested as well. As for the rest, China has put them under house arrest and have maintained tight surveillance over their every action through a tightly monitored network. The biggest piece of technology that allows the CCP to achieve this is their countrywide video surveillance system. According to official Chinese media, their video surveillance system was completed back in September of 2017. In recent years, the CCP has used more and more technologically advanced methods to monitor people, from the Golden Shield project to SkyNet, and in 2015, the Sharp Eyes project was launched for rural areas of China. With omnipresent surveillance paired with its advanced facial recognition AI technology, China has a massive database of its citizens, able to keep track of every single person's movements. As early as 2004, CCP authorities had already proposed ideas for peacekeeping in China, eventually leading to the SkyNet project. This SkyNet is a video surveillance system invested by the CCP where numerous surveillance cameras are installed in various locations, such as traffic routes, stations, malls, and theaters. With the addition of their advanced global satellite positioning systems and their face recognition and image collection capabilities, the public is being monitored at all times, eliminating any sense of personal privacy. The SkyNet is usually split into 4 levels: video collection, internet control, data processing, and practical usage of the data. In the first level, video collection, the deployment of nationwide surveillance hardware is required, and on average, each surveillance camera costs around $5,000 to $8,000, which adds up extremely rapidly. Of the cameras, they are placed in 2 types of locations. Type 1 locations cover high pedestrian traffic, such as roads and public transport, while Type 2 locations are the locations where people tend to stay, such as hospitals, parks, and schools. In Guangzhou City, for example, a local video surveillance construction project back in 2013 involved the identification of 58,000 Type 1 locations and up to 173,000 Type 2 locations. As the logistics of human monitoring vary depending on the location, the installed cameras will also vary to accommodate the needs of the area. In newer areas, the types of locations tend to require the use of higher definition cameras, requiring 24-hour live monitoring with a footage resolution of at least 1280 x 720p. On the other hand, other locations will have much lower requirements, using only around half the budget, making it much easier to maintain. With such a huge demand for surveillance hardware along with the constant need for maintenance, China's video surveillance industries have inadvertently experienced rapid growth as well. Of them, 3 major companies have benefited the most: Hikvision, Huawei, and ZTE. These 3 companies have helped the CCP build their surveillance network and compiled massive financial benefits as a result. From 2005 to 2015, China's video surveillance market had increased in value by a factor of 14, with Hikvision earning the largest revenue of around $5 billion in 2016. As for Huawei, they mainly provide China with the wafers and software needed for the SkyNet program. Questionably, Huawei has also signed a cooperation agreement with the Xinjiang government's Uyghur Autonomous Region back in August of 2016 to undertake in the construction of a safe city there, turning Xinjiang into a concentration camp where political dissidents can be constantly monitored. Of course, ZTE has also been making a significant amount of money, mainly through the construction of SkyNet. As a result, all 3 of these companies have been sanctioned by the USA since 2018. According to CCTV, each Chinese city spends a significant amount of money on the construction of this SkyNet. In 2006 alone, investment in 38 demonstration cities exceeded $3 billion, and Su Guangda, a biometric expert teaching at Tsinghua University, mentioned in a Northern Regional Forum that the Ministry of Public Security would invest over $31.5 billion in the effort of implementing SkyNet nationwide. From a report released last year by Surfshark, a VPN provider, it showed that the total number of surveillance monitors in Beijing numbered 1.15 million, the highest of any city in the world. And when it came to the top cities with the highest density of surveillance cameras, China alone accounted for 6 of the 10 cities. Back in 2019, the IDC reported that by 2022, China will have reached 2.76 billion cameras. This would mean that there will be 2 cameras for each Chinese citizen. This report also suggests that China will be spending another $30 billion in the next few years in order to improve its tracking technology. Separate research from IHS Markit also predicts that up to 75% of the world's facial recognition servers will be used by China alone. In September 2017, China's video surveillance network was featured in the CCTV documentary Amazing China. In it, they mentioned the facial recognition technology applied within the SkyNet system, which has the capability of matching hundreds upon thousands of facial data stored in criminal databases in only a few seconds. Then, in 2018, BBC's former Beijing correspondent John Sudworth witnessed firsthand the threatening formidability of the SkyNet program during his time in Guiyang, Guizhou province. While he was there, police officers took a photo of Sudworth's face, then proceeded to upload it into the blacklisted category. Later, when Sudworth entered a train station preparing to leave, he immediately saw 3 different surveillance cameras around him. As expected, his face was detected, and in as little as 7 minutes, police officers arrived at the scene and arrested him. Along with facial recognition, China also uses a host of other biometric features to identify people, such as voice recognition and even human gait recognition, which analyzes the body shape and movement patterns to identify individuals. A New York Times report additionally mentioned that iFlyTech, one of the first companies chosen to contribute to China's AI innovation, is developing voice recognition technology for China's security agencies. According to iFlyTech, the technology can be used for targeted listening surveillance, capable of identifying the voice of specific individuals, even in a crowded room, isolating and recording everything that the individual says. Various reports have also suggested that iFlyTech has already attained a database of over 70,000 voice prints in the Anhui province alone, where the company is headquartered. Another CCTV program, Men of Wisdom, introduces the world's largest gait database built by a team from the Chinese Academy of Science. According to them, this technology is capable of identifying specific individuals just from their walking posture within a distance of 50 meters. The primary advantage of gait recognition compared to facial technology is that with this technology, they are able to identify people even if they keep their faces hidden or away from nearby surveillance cameras, using their movement instead to pinpoint the person. After the completion of this massive surveillance system, another program named Project Dazzling Snow was also developed, primarily to target rural areas in 2016, and for the first time was included in the primary documents of the Central CCP Committee. Unlike SkyNet, Project Dazzling Snow incorporates everyday citizens within their surveillance system by installing special TV channels, allowing anyone to see their local surveillance footage. They have also created mobile apps that allow people to conveniently report any suspicious activity directly from their smartphones. As a result, every single person in the rural area becomes a part of the omnipresent surveillance grid. From the widespread use of all these surveillance technologies, it is without doubt that China has built the world's largest surveillance system, capable of not only tracking and identifying the monitored person along with their personal information, but also able to identify their relatives and other individuals who are in frequent contact with them. Under such meticulous surveillance, all presence of personal privacy is completely lost. However, despite the advanced tracking technology, millions of people still go missing in China each year, and only a minute fraction of them are found. For example, on February 25, 2021, the Chinese Institute of Social Aid and the Search Project team jointly released a report detailing missing individuals over 2020. According to the data, over 1 million people went missing in China in 2020 alone. While this is a notable decrease from the 3.94 million missing reports in 2016 and the 2.6 million reported in 2017, having 1 million people going missing each year is no trivial matter. About half of these cases are of the elderly, and the rest are almost all women and children, suggesting that these are all cases of human trafficking.
二叔别哭，二叔，莹莹。大波就能来，真的。你的莹莹，真的你的莹莹，嫂子。二叔不哭，二叔不要发出声音，二叔。嫂子。大波就能要这样。
There has been a story circulating around the internet where a 16-year-old girl went missing in China, and despite reporting it to local authorities, nothing was done to locate her. However, once the girl's uncle went to the Public Security Bureau and claimed that she had been engaging in anti-communist activities and was planning on stirring up trouble in Beijing, the girl was found less than 2 days later. Although we have no way of confirming the authenticity of this story, this situation seems entirely believable when examining the past behaviors of. In another case, Beijing announced back on January 19th the whereabouts of an asymptomatic person and identified his directional path. In 18 days, Mr. Yue, the identified individual, was found to have traveled to 28 different locations while working in construction labor, working night shifts all 18 days from midnight to early morning. Such a detailed analysis of Mr. Yue's daily schedule and location would have been impossible without the advanced surveillance technology. Surprisingly, what shocked the Chinese people most was not actually the detailedness of his surveillance, but instead how hard he worked, with many lamenting over his strenuous daily labor throughout the night. However, the story behind this man's life is even more tragic. Mr. Yue was originally a fisherman in Weihai City of Shandong Province, living a poor but peaceful life. This all changed in August of 2020 when his eldest son, who was 19 at the time, disappeared. Mr. and Miss Yue immediately went to the local Public Security Bureau, begging for them to help find his location through surveillance footage and his smartphone. Unfortunately, the police ignored their cries for help. With no one to help them, he decided to do it himself, going to different locations throughout China in an attempt to find his son, working part-time gigs on the side. Of course, the CCP's inaction towards Mr. Yue's troubles have inevitably sparked outrage throughout social media. If their surveillance system is so capable of tracking Mr. Yue's whereabouts, why couldn't they help him find his lost son? As such, it can be seen that the series of surveillance projects built by the CCP are not for the protection of the people as they claim, but rather just another means to maintain power over the people, keeping their regime stable. Even the state-controlled media such as CCTV have stated that the primary intentions of projects like SkyNet are not to deal with common criminal cases, but rather to maintain nationwide stability. How long could such an authoritarian regime that relies on such methods possibly sustain itself?